This video is about something I want to, at least from as a note, put in here. A lot of people don't. I mean, they don't. It can be studied and looked into. I mean, it's not like a secret, but like when this well, I'll talk about two things. So my friend who's the sheriff. I have a friend who that's the guy who I said it's a great video of him confronting John McCain. It shows you like sort of the right way to do such a thing, like about like he said, sir, is it he was a former my friend was a cop, and then he crisis of conscience about putting people in prison for growing marijuana plants. Great footage of him coming up to John McCain saying, "Sir, like I want to ask you, is it wrong? Do you think it's right to let people, to arrest people for growing a plant?" And he said, or to have the police feel they have to do it because they're following orders. He's like, I did that. I was following orders. He's like, I don't even like the sound of that. It makes me think of people are like just following orders. And he had a back and forth to John McCain that was very civil, and he ended up running for sheriff in a place called Keene, New Hampshire, where they like all love him. Like, oh, Brody, my favorite cop. Like he's a guy who was kind of like a hero to his friends and stuff. I think he is. He's a cool guy, and they all like this. This is that like peaceful part of the kind of like liberty movement, like. Not the, whatever, not the pocket Constitution crowd. No, this is like in Keene, New Hampshire. A bunch of people like, sort of take over, like they sort of took over a town in a weird way, made him the sheriff. And he likes to, he's not like, the Republican Party is a good party, but he's with these liberty-minded people, made him the sheriff. I think I'd like to see more of that. So I want to say two things. The recent history on that, like where that fits in, is something worth knowing, and to put all this in context. When they're going, the things we're talking about now are all the things you get called like a right-wing nut for by this like social science we did a study crowd. If you look at the history of see, people don't know recent history very often. When I heard about the Tea Party movement, we just got a bunch of stuff in there. I think there's some issues like they have a lot of lots of different issues. Some about homeschooling, some about other are unemployed, and that there's a lot of different Tea Party people. But what it reminded me of a little bit, something that happened when I was, recent history, like in the I want to say the 90s, but actually no, before. It's a great book, sort of political history called Suburban Warriors, and it's about. Oh gosh, I wish this is more like what's his name? I gotta go back. It's a little further back. It's it's Goldwater. These are like soccer moms who like they started out, school boards, those kind of issues, kind of like a lot of these women in the Tea Party, and like there's a book called Suburban Warriors, like sort of Sarah Palin type women that were like supporting Goldwater, And this stuff goes on, like these kind of movements that like get, certainly not giving any attention in no one's the universities or anything. This sort of history to this kind of thing. I don't know if I call it like a populist strain in the country or something. But anyway, among things like, when you say, oh geez, you're running for sheriff, that's so cool. Guys, liberty-minded people, they want like it to be a place where marijuana is legal, but they like the sheriff is, this way, and he's my friend. But the recent history of like, that sounds pretty nice, like a sheriff who like knows the community, and knows his community. So, has common sense, Common sense is missing. Is what's missing during all this stuff that happened during the 90s. It says though the people who they're doing their studies, they're doing this, they're experts in things. They appear to be involved with that LaRouche movement. I like the way they say it: the systematic denial of the existence of an objective reality. Like common sense needs a defense all of a sudden against these people. You're using rationality and like scientific things to get the power. When I got interested in the history of what happened to the Davidians, part of the thing, and I've sort of talked about it differently in different videos that only you guys saw. But that was a little too. I mean, I was like in a different phase of our thing. I thought we were doing a reality thing or a satire, sort of very edgy satire. But no, I mean the whole thing with the sheriff in that town. That is in the locality. See, a lot of this stuff is like it's called like right wing nuts and stuff. It's like homeschooling, spiritual communities. Just with like my friend in Keene, New Hampshire. It's a liberty town, you know, where they we're gonna have marijuana is illegal. All kinds of things are gonna do. Like liberty minded there. It's like a free, you know. It's just it's local, you know. By the way, these people from the social science thing, everything they do goes at the national level, and like they want it, you know, spread everywhere. So they get it wrong all the time in demented ways. They're studying things in places where they've never been, you know. They are. I mean, from a distance, they're doing empirical studies, like go among these people, see what they're about. Well, it's a different part of the country. I mean, you know. We don't have to have like a big people panicking. We don't have to have like a big secede. People don't. It's just a different. That's the country. There's different pockets of culture. Always go back, my friend. What kind of sheriff will he be? Like, what kind of sheriff is he gonna be in Keene, New Hampshire? Well, I'll tell you, it's kind of like that guy. The other guy is the sheriff in Waco, in Texas. You know what he said about the Indians? You know, why everyone's like from the from the sort of social science wing that just paints the whole country as like weird social phenomenon. They study, do their thing, and dehumanize everybody. He talked about it. He said, "Well, see here," and he said, "Well, what was going on there? Like people were making accusations from all over the place, at the national level, and like they wanted to, you know." See if they had illegal firearms. They wanted to see if there was, you know, what they call like statutory rape from their perspective. And he said, well, listen, it's a spiritual community that's been here for a long time and everything. And he's like, they're very good people. And he said, but as for this claim about all this, like, you know, that they're part of their community is like, you know, he said, look, in our county, 14-year-olds get married with parental consent. Like a guy and his girlfriend, like 14 years old in high school, they can get married if their parents consent. That's the way it is in this like rural place. 240, you know. In New York, it's not like that. But in New York, at like the social science school, right, they're like looking at that from afar. This sheriff knows the town. He said, oh, they're good people. He said they had different beliefs than I did, different beliefs from other people, but they were good people. I liked them, you know. And he said, as for these claims against him, he said, yeah, I know we investigated. Like you can't really, in here, you know, young people can get married parental consent. They could also marry the, you know, head of this community. It's you know, it causes some concern, but we couldn't find a problem or anything to make a case about what's happening there. You know, that's the way it is in this part of the thing, you know, part of the country. It's kind of like my friend is sheriff. Like, what kind of towns are going to be? Is everyone going to be like dealing drugs? Like, no, the way there is like they hope to have marijuana legal in this like part of Keene, New Hampshire, and among other things that will be like liberty minded. You know, like, you know, it's a looser place to live. You know, that's like where we'd like to see things go. But all of these people are would be called by this like social science like crowd that gets into power, and I think it's in power during Clinton, like they perceive this all as dangerous, right-wing nuts and this and that, and I don't know what kind of hateful like eyes they're looking through, but part of it is they are doing some kind of psychopathic like research into things. They don't live in reality, but when they're in control, and they were operating in the 90s and spreading all their theories. And it's led to just nothing but like bad things. This video doesn't make a whole lot of sense, does it? Sorry, I just gave it a shot. When you do, I haven't been up this late in a while. Is this bad? Is it bedtime? I took a nap